the Niagara sits an underworld that at one time helped introduce the world to electricity.
Well, tonight, 2 on Your Side's Pete Gallivan goes underground to give us a tour and tells us what's being done to preserve the history of the power generating stations on the Canadian side of the falls.
10 stories below the thundering waters of Niagara Falls, there is an underworld. Thrill seekers who call themselves urban explorers have snapped these dramatic photos of the maze of massive tunnels that lie hidden beneath this wonder of the world. But the reality is, these caverns are merely drain pipes of the real wonders.
It was really one of the first power generating stations generating AC power anywhere in the world.
You probably passed it on the Niagara Parkway and wondered about it. This grand old building was the Toronto Power Generating Station. It opened its doors in 1906.
The ability to just, at the push of a button, have power and be able to turn it on or be able to turn it right off was something that nobody had ever experienced.
A remarkable junction of ideas and technology that literally brought the world to life.
So what we have here really is where sort of the rubber hits the road.
Just to the north is the Rankin Power Station of the former Canadian Niagara Power Company. That is the first station to bring electricity to Buffalo, making it the City of Lights. The two facilities are out of service and in the hands of the Niagara Parks Commission. Marika Kozachenko oversees them and gave us a look into the massive structures.
When the gates are in an up position, they would allow water to come in, again from the outside of the building or the outer forebay, through the arches.
And a lesson on how they worked.
The water is then brought into a tunnel, which is called a penstock, and the water drops down 150 feet. That's what builds up the power in the water.
The power was then harnessed.
This is the generator cap, attached to a turbine at the bottom.
Attached by a 90-ton shaft, but it is the wheel pits that are the most impressive. 10 stories into the bedrock, the water gathering up kinetic energy as it falls through these massive pipes or penstocks. And then, with the gravitational energy spent, the water was discharged into these huge tunnels below known as tail races. It ultimately flowed back into the Niagara at the base of the falls.
About 130 actually from here down to the bottom.
That fear of heights we were talking about?
I keep telling you, those aren't heights, they're depths.
The tail races are about 30 feet across and the attraction for those urban explorers, but also unstable and hazardous, which is why the Parks Commission is in the process of sealing them so they're inaccessible. They're also trying to restore the impressive buildings that sit at ground level.
When you look at them from the outside, they look like banks. They're very strong and they look like they're going to be there for a long time. And that was what they needed to convince people to buy into the power and buy into creating demand for electricity.
They feel the facilities are a testament to the powers of industry that came together to bring electricity to the people.
If there was anything that was to happen to this building, it would never be built again, especially where it is so close to the falls, really in an iconic location that in today's environment you would never get a building permit to build, especially this close to the water and this close to the Niagara Falls itself.
The Toronto Power Plant is in the roughest shape. It sat idle and empty for more than 30 years. The Rankin station was in private hands and in operation until last year. And while they have a very important history, the question is, what use do they hold for the future?
To have people come down to see something or do something in March, see the falls, but also be able to take advantage of some type of indoor venue would be really cool.
Kozachenko says the cost to just bring this building up to development-ready standards is estimated at $25 million. So right now, they're trying to get creative.
We didn't have a lot of money to throw at them, so we tried to look for something, a way that we could make money without making a large investment in them. And we came up with film production.
In fact, when we were there, a network film crew was setting up for a shoot. Studios pay about $3,000 a day to use the building as a film set. Long term, they hope to use that revenue, rehab the buildings, and find a good reuse. Short term, they just want to preserve what's left and seal them up, making them less accessible and desirable for urban explorers, and leaving these huge tunnels beneath to history. In Niagara Falls, Ontario, Pete Gallivan, Channel 2 News.
Very cool. cool.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, Pete. Now, if you'd like to know more about the tunnels, we have a link to the Niagara Parks Commission website in Pete's story on WGRZ.com.
I had no idea. Often seen that building there, and
What
it
it was.
looks like a bank, and now we know.
Yeah, hopefully they can refurbish it and reuse it. Be really kind of cool piece of history for people to be able to tour all the time.
Sure would. And Kevin, you and I were just chatting. Got a nice day coming our way tomorrow, right?
Sure